because Lúnasa was a real communal celebration for years and years, and of course, even though things are opening up a bit now, things are not like wildly communal. They are very small, there are smaller gatherings still that we are having. I thought that I would share ways that I have celebrated Lúnasa in years past and this year as well. Always I bake on Lúnasa Eve. Um, a lot of people would bake soda bread. I love spelt. And I was really pleased when Laura was talking about how, the original inhabitants brought spelt with them, because I wouldn't know how to bake barley bread. But so I celebrate with a spelt loaf. And also I was down in the garden picking peas and broad beans and lettuce and the first courgettes out of the garden. And one of the things you can do is to create a Lúnasa altar in home. And so I have one that's a bit more formal, but then there's also the kitchen altar, which is the one with the bread and with the harvest. So bear with me. Technical fairies and angels, please help me share the photo. I'll be back in a moment.
If you're not, I'm going to have it up any second. I've just got your two photos up. Yeah, I can do it.
Okay, you do it. You go for it. You go for it. Because
just give me a couple of seconds and I will. I've got one. There's one. That's now. Explain what I got there.
Okay, what you've got there is one of the two llamas loaves or lunas loaves that I baked last night. It's a spelt. It's a whole wheat and white spelt loaf that has an egg wash on it and then has mixed seeds on top of it. And then in the basket in the front is a great mess of produce, which has at base both oak leaf lettuce and green lettuce. There are peas in there, there are broad beans there, and there are two very small courgettes that I picked this morning. So that is the first fruits of, well, we have had some peas and some broad beans and some lettuce earlier, but not since. They've only just come in the last week. But yeah, so this is basically the kitchen altar for the first fruits. And then I have the more formal altar. Can you bring that one up?
There you go.
And I do this with every turn of the calendar of the wheel. And on the left, you can see a card from the Wisdom of the Cailleach Oracle that has been created by Jane Brideson. And I actually picked that card on full moon, and it is called First Fruits. And I thought, ooh, how appropriate. Next to that is some grasses that have grown in our garden, and I've just bound them up and saved them, and I put them out on the altar at this time. And to the right, you will see the Druid Animal Oracle. Now, every year at Samhain, I do a Wheel of the Year spread using the Druid Animal Oracle. And with every turn of the wheel, I swap it out and I bring out the card that is for the season. And for me this year, Swan is the totem beast for this particular season. At the back, you will see some tree mallow and lady's mantle that we have cut back from the garden. And there's a candle and various crystals. And on the right, there's a little one that says "Be Positive." That was a gift from a friend. And it is holding down a swan feather and a magpie feather. Again, swan, because swan is the totem for this season. Magpie, because magpies have been hanging around me a lot these past couple of months. And I was able to actually pick a feather up off the lane when I was walking down to the Holy Well a few weeks back. that holy well is about a half a kilometer from my house. And I thought I would bring it up because where I live in West Haven is also very close to Belcoo. It's part of what is now called the Quilca Lakelands Geopark, Global Geopark. It used to be known as the Marble Arch Caves Global Geopark, but they changed the name to make it a bit more, to have a more strongly cross-border identity. And both, the thing is that these holy wells, both my local one in Tubber, which is the Irish for well, and it's actually known as Morris Tubber, which is Mary's well, is that there were Lúnasa fairs held at both Belcoo Holy Well and at Tubber Holy Well. What is unique about Tubber Holy Well was that there was a Lúnasa fair held there many, many moons ago, and a fight broke out, which is not uncommon at these fairs, and blood was spilt into the holy well, and it was kind of considered from then that there was a sense of pollution to the well, that there was a curse upon the well. Now, about not quite 10 years ago, less than 10 years ago, a local farmer, when he was trying to create a right of way up to some land that he owned above Tubber Well, he actually discovered that he owned the land for that well. And he assumed hereditary well keeper, that role. He completely got the well renovated because it was beginning to fall apart, cleaned it out, and had the local priest come and bless the well, lift the curse. And it is now very much it has always been a center of local devotion, but now even more so. And last August 15th, there was a mass, an open air mass said there that was very well attended. And quite possibly there'll be another one this year as well, depending on what he can organize with the priest. But that's sort of the private things that you can do at Lúnasa when you may not be able to get to a fair or want to go to a fair. So if you can move the slide back to just me, John, I will launch myself into some Lúnasa poems for you.
No, do. It is. I was way back on my photo collection, but fire ahead. There you go. There's B.
Grand. Okay. So I have a few Lúnasa poems, and the first one is called Lúnasa First Light. Dawns can be sketchy, a tease of cobalt cloud shot through with gilded light, threading, Midas-like. The lupins, aquilegia, and foxgloves have dropped their heads. I empty their seeds out into paper envelopes. No tumbrils, no fanfare, no drum roll, just the bread knife slicing into the spelt loaf I baked on Lúnasa Eve, that ancient grain stone ground, ready for honey or jam on breakfast toast. Pips in the sour sweet raspberry jam, seeds not saved for sowing in another season. Not all is lost, even at our most careless. The light takes a downward slant, like a sharp blade angling to cut, the whoosh and air whir of the scythe's brush. Lúnasa. I am the dragonfly winging over acres of meadowsweet. I am the moth beating the window pane at midnight. I am the spider spinning seasons turn in all corners. I am the dying light of sun. I am moon's shadow in morning sky. I am the last hot breath of wind and first hearth fire. I am full moon and high tide. I am the thrumming of rainfall. I am the still lake under low cloud. I am the heather purpling the uplands. I am wildflowers gone to seed. I am the hare scampering towards equinox. I am the black turf for the fire and potatoes for the pot. I am the blessed lady of the holy well. I am the offerings, and I am the deal.